what if they call you and they ask you, they say, hey, I need a quote on this service, but this service is not something you offer. You don't say, well, we don't do that, so sorry, bye. You collect all of their information and then you let them know.
Yeah, we're here to service a client, right? You pay for the phone to ring. So every time the phone rings, every time you get an email, request form, all of that, you've paid for that to happen. So we collect their information first. We say, okay, that sounds great. Let me get your information. And the whole purpose is even if we can't service them, even if it's not us, we're still servicing them by giving them referrals and trusted people we work with. And ultimately you pay for the phone to ring, and we want to get that information in the system, because just because they aren't doing business with us right now doesn't mean that they're not going to do business or need our service months down the road. So they might want tree work right now, and maybe we don't do that, but we have great recommendations. 4 months down the road, they need a retaining wall, they need a landscape, and then our emails are there, our contacts there, we're nurturing that thing, and we're going to potentially do business with them. But ultimately, that all boils down to we're just trying to serve the client. And when you have that contact information, then you can email them all those referrals, and then that's just a usable thing that where they don't have to be like, well, let me get out my pen and paper, let me write down the names. It's just you're going out of the way to be more helpful.
Well, and you've served them in a really convenient way, and it can feel, and it is an incredibly authentic interaction, because now I have your information. I have this awesome list of trusted people. I'm going to hang up and send that right over to you. They're going to look for that email. Then they have you in their inbox. And a more advanced approach is that we have a lead nurturing automation set up through Service Autopilot. So as soon as you're input into our system, then you are going to start getting emails a couple times a week from us. So yeah, you're going to continue thinking about us, even though you don't need us right now. A few months down the road, we're going to be the person you thought of. And you can even have a template set up. Like what we have is, when that happens, is they can go into their account. They could probably send this to them while they're still on the phone, because it takes 2 clicks. Send them the email that says, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to talk to you today. Here's the recommendations we talked about. And it's a template where all the contact information and names of businesses are just input in your system. I mean, that simplifies it so much. You can even have a Google Doc where, like, here's my list of tree people, here's my list of pressure washing people, whatever it is, where they could just copy and paste the couple names of trusted people that you know, which this strategy is a whole other reason why networking is so important, because you're serving people better. And you're those people that call you that you weren't able to assist them, but you did assist them, they're going to remember you and really, really value that.
Hey, you were just saying template. Can we say template or without saying
template?
Huh?
What do you mean?
I thought you always told me to say template.
No.
Well, I'm just glad that I heard it, because I was like, oh my God, I've been saying template and thinking that was the thing. Oh my God, I am blown away, because I thought that was the correction, because I used to say template.
My brother in Christ, you.
I will easily fix that, because I've hated saying template forever. Because I thought that was the correction, because I remember a big correction in this word, template.
You're making me sweat.
Maybe I just am a dumb fucking redneck hillbilly. Let's move on.
I'm so worried about you.
My hands are really sweaty.
All right, let's circle back, you little dumbass. So you've collected the lead. Let's say we're back to the scenario where this is something that you offer. You are going to thoroughly assist them. Tell them what happens next, right? And this is so straightforward. Your admin knows what's going to happen next. So I'm going to hang up with you. I'm going to calculate your property via GPS. And I'm going to send you a quote to your email in the next 5 minutes. Or I'm going to send it over and I'm going to call you back in 5 minutes. Let them know what to expect and then follow through with that. The task then is not done until that's completed. You can't hang up and then get distracted with something else. The task has not been finished until you've completely served that client. Or do they need to have someone visit on site or drop by or meet with them? Whatever that next step is, let them know. Someone will do a walkthrough on your property in the next, today or the next day or the next 2 days. You don't have to be there. I'll let you know as soon as the quote's ready. Like, let them know the time frame and what to expect, and then follow through with that, because so often contractors are dropping the ball and they'll just never hear from that company again, and the client will just be waiting, and they don't know the time frame on how long it takes to gather a quote. Or if you have to make an appointment where you actually have to meet with someone, we've talked about this on the podcast before, but something that's working really well for us right now is Calendly, which is really automating our appointment booking process for consultations. And even though it's not synced with our CRM, and ideally this would all be in one system, it doesn't always work that way. It takes a lot of pressure off our admin because you can literally go to the Calendly link while you're on the phone with the client. It prompts you to ask all the questions that we just talked about. Plus it inputs, or it asks you certain things like, what's your budget? What are the goals for this project? Do you have any certain preferences? Is there anyone else that will be the decision maker in this appointment?
And that's the fun. I think that's the best thing about it. And that's what I don't like. I wish Service Autopilot's new version has it better laid out where it makes you ask the right things. But I would love like a CRM to just be those input questions you could do. And that's what's perfect about Calendly, even though they don't work hand in hand. Being able to build it out of the things you need us to ask every time, so it gives us better information for everything we're doing, is so huge. And like you said, all the other things it automates. I just can't get over the day of old where we used to be sending out appointment reminders in the morning.
Or not reminding the client at all and just
forgetting.
hoping, exactly, or just hoping that they remember to meet you.
And then that goes back to having a different level of service every time they interact with your business. That's what somebody interacts with your business one time, and if the experience is really awesome, they expect that every time. They don't expect to, they don't want to go to the next person in the business, deal with this person, and then the business is a whole different business when you deal with them versus, the other person.
Oh, absolutely. And the goal here is you're creating these procedures and strategies that are repeatable and simple and straightforward. So yes, we're talking in this episode about bringing your first person in and teaching them these beginner phone strategies, but this is repeatable for your first, fifth, 10th person. So you're right. It's creating that streamlined experience that you don't want someone to pick up the phone, the client to know that this person sucks and I'd rather talk to this other person. No, You want it all to be so seamless. Okay, so let's touch on objections. I think this is arguably one of your favorite areas to talk about, but it can be very intimidating for an admin, especially someone who's just newer in the position or newer to the industry. But objections are not fun for anyone. So you're the admin.
Let's do this.
I'm the mean client. You tell me the minimum price or you tell me the quote over the phone, and the reaction is just, that is fucking ridiculous. That is so expensive. I had 2 other quotes and you are price gouging and this is horrible. And they take out their years of frustration and their childhood trauma
and their money problems and all their
everything.
Head is trash about
their misery.
Money.
They take it all out on you, the sweet, innocent admin who's just doing their job.
I would first say, I totally understand. I agree that our price is higher and we have a service that reflects that. We put a lot of time into making sure customers come first and everything is about serving you. Now, with that being said, if that price is out of your budget and you've already got some referrals or you've already got some quotes, we also have a list of people that we refer that we trust as well if you'd like to get other quotes. So unfortunately, I'm sorry that this may not work, but I do have other people that can help you as well.
Absolutely. Empathize, understand.
Yeah, I agree. And sorry, I'm just cutting you off, but agree that our price is higher. You agree that I get your feelings. It's really hard to get mad at me when I agree that it's higher. I didn't say it wasn't. And then roll into all the things that a little bit of an explanation, but don't explain a ton because it's nobody gives a shit about your reasons. If I said that, our shit's plated gold, nobody cares. Why? But so I try to keep that short and brief and then run right into the other things.
I think the big thing is, you don't apologize. I've heard admins apologize for this. They feel a personal burden on this. There are no apologies. We are not a company. No one is a company for every client. There is someone out there that's one dude with one truck, one trailer who his whole business model is to be the absolute cheapest. That would be a great person to have in your back pocket to give that information to clients like that.
And an even bigger piece, which this goes more to probably the owners that may get a hot head about this, because typically your office staff won't get a hot head. They'll be too scared to know. But as you're learning and you're dealing with more people, and what you said, a lot of people get into this because they know how to do the thing, not necessarily facilitate the office. You don't want to breed a bad culture and bad things in your office by when someone says those things. That can't make you mad. You can't let that make you mad that they think you're expensive, because that's irrelevant. I see all these posts. I saw one this morning from a lawn care person, like posted a text where like this person just ragged on them for their prices, and like it's irrelevant. You can't, like, it's not even worth wasting your time. They don't understand your business model, and they're not your ideal client, and that's totally good. And it's as easy as, I'm sorry that we're out of your budget. There's other options out there that we can or give you referrals for.
And we all have preferences about where we shop. You know, when I'm shopping for, I'm going to say makeup and hair products, even though that's not really what I shop for, but I get the cheapest stuff. But I mean, that's a good example. I don't care about the highest quality stuff, so I shop for cheap stuff. Whereas there are girls who shop for specifically the highest quality things. I mean, it's true of all of us, where it's just normal. It's just totally okay. They're making a choice. And yeah, their presentation of like being super mean about your pricing is, you know, it's on them. It's not on you.
Yeah.
And I think as an admin, let's get back to like maybe an inexperienced admin, just be respectful, be calm, be empathetic, but not apologetic, because you are proud of the company that you're representing and you stand behind the value of your company.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, you're not the right fit for this person, but you can still serve them by providing the recommendations.
100%. I know that you're tying back into that conversation, but I do want to talk about like when I look at me as a person who's buying stuff as well. Like there's a lot of people just like me. I'm not getting 3 fucking quotes from every company. It is a waste of time. There's so many people out there getting 3 quotes, picking this, basing off price, and that's fine. They're not your ideal client. Like, I would be our ideal client because I don't have the time to do a thing with 3 people. I want to find the company that appears to be the best.
That answers the phone, gets back to you, and can do the work.
Has great reviews. And then when I meet them, I feel good about them. And then from there, I don't even care. Like, I just got a quote for electrician work. There could have been a quote that was $1,000 cheaper. I don't know, because I didn't look. You know, that's it's just more wasted time. And then vice versa. Same with a fence. We just got a fence thing done. There could have been a way cheaper quote, but like, there's a huge different mindset between the person who is wanting the lowest dollar and the person who says, my time's worth a lot of money and I'm not going to waste a bunch of time on this.
Well, and the person
those are different people looking for different services.
The person that wants the cheapest is usually the most difficult to work with also. So you should always be really grateful in the back of your mind that this person recognizes that you're not a match, because it typically will not be a good fit in the long run. So it's a good practice just to have that in your back pocket, where you are offering the recommendations, closing out that lead, and moving on, and knowing that you did assist them in the best way that you could. Plus, not a lot of people have that reaction. So it's a good lesson for the client on the other side of the phone. Yeah. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say 7 to 8 times out of 10, that client will call you again in a couple months and let you know that their provider stopped showing up, totally butchered their lawn, fucked up their landscape, and now they're ready to proceed with the quote that you got them. So it all plays out. Karma is a thing. Hopefully that person gets therapy if they react that ridiculous to someone over the phone. But those people are out there. And if it's a full moon, you better just like buckle up and get ready for that, because I feel like on full moons people go nuts. Also, something to touch on, which this is more just for the owner, this is a really good reason to qualify over the phone and via your website. So when you have your prices or your starting prices on your website and people are being directed to that and finding you via your website, they're going to know, they're going to feel less bamboozled when it reaches that point in time, because they're already familiar with some of your pricing, some of your minimums, whatever. It's a good way to qualify, but also in like the landscaping or big project side, when you are asking their budget up front, you're saving a lot of time, because those quotes are much more time consuming to go into it, and you can avoid some of that headache and work with the people like you know, the people that you want to be working with.
Yeah. I think that speaks to, you know, a good friend and a mentor of mine, like Tom Reber. One of the things that he has said a lot is, what the fuck are you not qualifying people for? Because you only end up doing work for 3 out of every 10 people typically anyway. And that qualifying that you're scared to do, especially when you get busier and you get bigger, and people are afraid to qualify because they think, what if we turn away extra work? What actually happens is, when you're qualifying, instead of wasting time on spending all the time with all those 10 people. Now you get to spend the time with the 3 people that are going to buy from you and actually buy from you. And you get to wow them. Like all that extra time that would get burnt with the other 7 gets to all be poured right into them. So you get to give them even better service, which is going to grow your business even more in the future.
Absolutely. Now, this is something I want to touch on briefly. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but it's something we've been asked about frequently. It's something that I have thoughts on, but you have direct experience with. And that is when you, the owner of the company, hire your first admin, essentially your gatekeeper. What about the clients who have spent now maybe seasons, potentially years working directly with you and now have this gatekeeper and feel entitled directly to you? Maybe it feels like they don't have respect for this person that you have now in your office. They want to bypass them. They want to just get straight to you. What kind of strategies for the admin, or maybe phrases, or what do you think the best way to deal with that is? Because I know that wasn't a huge issue for you, but you still have those clients that will do that.
This second business in Florida, this has been a lot easier because I always had a gatekeeper almost from the beginning. Like it's still, there was a little bit of that, right? And I was more connected at the very beginning. So the easiest thing to say is make that transition as soon as you can, as early as you can, and don't go through the hell of trying to do so much by yourself for so long. But I will say there's a lot to be said for the person who's starting their first business ever in it. You know, you don't know as much, you don't know what you don't know, and it takes longer to grow and longer to have more money and longer to see those benefits. And so you might end up just like I did, where, you know, you don't have someone in the office for a couple years, which I think that's about what it was. It was my first part-time year and probably worked some of the next year alone. And, so we had all this time where we had these clients that loved me, wanted to deal with me, and had this connection with me. And I think the best advice is, you know, if a client isn't on board with that, this is definitely ruthless sounding, but it's like if a client's not on board with that, not okay with that, like they're not the best client for you.
Another great time to give recommendations for the intentional one-man band.
Yeah, because my feeling there, and because I hear so many people think that no one else can have the conversations with the people. Like, if I had all the fucking time in the world, I would love to just sit and talk to every client because I love talking. Like I can just rattle on. We could talk about your dog, your cat, your wall, your flooring. What it's turned into is like, if you can't create that separation and you can't get over the thought that you have to be talking to these people, like it's a big problem for your business in the future. And the way I see the people, because I remember them slowly falling away from our business in Illinois, the people that thought that they had to have this direct connection to me. And I remember when I ended it by getting a separate phone, you know, I was just like, okay, I'm done with that. That's stupid. That like, I'm not going to get fucking calls at 7 and 8 o'clock at night. That's miserable as shit. So getting, long story short, or long story long, actually, those people, if they feel that way, what you need to realize is if they were good, if they're the long-term people with your company, they're going to like cheer that on and support that you're starting to make these moves. The people that aren't supporting that, they don't care, that it's about them. It's a them thing. They don't like that they can't get directly a hold of you and directly have control of you and directly make it the way it's going to be. And unfortunately, like that's, if the company's going to get big, that's not going to be the way it is forever. We're going to have service and we're going to take care of clients, but that doesn't mean that they have to directly be able to get a hold of me for every single problem. We have a team to help facilitate that. And be honest with the whole sense of the thing is I can't serve them the best. I need more people to answer the questions because I don't know it all. There's too much. At some point, there's too much going on for you to know every single answer to every single thing. So they are going to end up long-term just not being your ideal client. And what you'll see is your best clients, your good clients, and what's most likely probably going to be the majority of those people not care at all and cheer you on and support. And then the noise you get from the other people, I mean, they're just going to be people that fall by the wayside, and they will inevitably get replaced with more awesome clients.
Oh, absolutely. And then from a marketing standpoint, I think that there's great strategies in transition. So anytime anything happens in your company, use it as a marketing opportunity. And we've always done this. Anytime we've brought someone new into the office, we immediately send out an introduction email to our entire email list. So they've got a face there, like we use a picture where there's a face to the name. I always ask the admins, tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, what do you like? What's your past work history like? And what do you like to do outside of work? So we add some personal details. We talk about their role, their starting role in the company, what you can expect. And it says you can expect to be talking to this person about your account now. It's very straightforward about what this person will be doing. Send that out to all of your clients, all of your leads. So then they know, post it on Facebook, do the same thing, be really loud about this, and then take that a step forward and have them start calling all of your clients and all of your leads, which we're going to get into this more in a minute. So I don't want to dwell on this now, but have them call and introduce themselves.
Yeah.
And that's huge. So there you go. No one from a client side will feel bamboozled or like I've just lost all this communication and this connection I had with this person. No, this is a really cool way to support a growing company in this transition period. And they've told me about it. They feel like included and connected. So you connect them to your wins, and then you're going to eliminate that pissed offness, which so few clients are actually going to experience, but it's still real.
I can sympathize with it because I saw it. I can name one person comes to mind right now that she was the last person to fall off of our client list. I feel like that there was this slow transition. So I can tell to all of the people that listen to this and have talked to all these clients one-on-one for 2-3 years. I can tell you what the slow transition's like. I just remember slowly we got to a day where I was like, that was the last person that thought that they needed to just talk to me and that nobody else could answer their question. And it felt, I'd already cut it off where it wasn't going to happen anyway, but it took a while to rub that person got rubbed the wrong way by it enough to leave because they still really liked our service. It was very relieving when I realized like I didn't have to answer any of the questions. I could go out and do what I do best, which is meet new people, sell more stuff, grow our company, facilitate having a good team, a good culture, the things that are going to matter to make sure more of those people get taken care of well in the future.
Absolutely. And then from an admin perspective, when you do encounter someone who feels like they want to bypass you, have absolute confidence, whether it's your first day, your first hour on the job, or you are truly confident in being this gatekeeper, be confident in your role. And if you don't have the answer for the client, one of the most powerful things you can have in your arsenal is, I will get that answer to you. And then follow through on that. You don't have to know everything that your boss knows. You just have to be able to get the answer to this client. And then the client will then in turn have confidence in you because they will trust you and know that you will follow through with this communication.
And then I think as more added information, because this is important, if you're training your team and you're hiring your first admin person, you as the owner that's had this connection forever, you also need to help facilitate this as well. And honey, I want your opinion on this and see what you think. But there's a lot of situations where someone bypassed them. They got to me. And then I inevitably said, well, and we'll just use Zoe for mowing. Unfortunately, I don't have any of that information. I can get with Zoe and get all that information for you or have her call you back. So a lot of times to support the team, even if I could have got them the answers, I redirected. And it's not that I'm trying to lie. A lot of times, like I just have to do more digging in that somebody else has already done. And so I will turn them around and redirect them back to who they were trying to get directed to me because they thought that they were going to get a better answer from me than they were going to get from the person that should actually be handling the problem anyway.
So this is going to be a fun little section. Let's touch on this strategy and how it can affect your admin team. You're going to love this because you don't know that I've thrown this into my notes.